Debi, we've introduced the World Health Organization, so that's probably a good opportunity to bring you in. What have you got to tell us about what's coming in through medicine and World Health?
Well, it's interesting. I think, as far as I'm aware, this is going to be a UK column exclusive. And we've been doing a lot of investigative work and research into this. And in a minute, I'm going to bring my great friend Cheryl Grainger on, and we're going to try and make a little bit of sense of this. But in the meantime, I think what we're going to reveal is a significant plan, a plan that you may not have heard of, which has significant impact on what's going forward. And we are going to present the evidence. So bear with me. These next few slides, there's going to be a few of them, and we're going to go quite quickly through them. It's just to present the methodology of what we found. So the first thing that I want to draw your attention to is how much money has gone into the development of mRNA COVID-19 vaccines from US public investment. So here we are looking at a link between the United States and the UK, and actually Europe and pretty much a lot of other countries. So just to illustrate, Pfizer, 20.4 billion, and Moderna, 10.8 billion was invested. If we then slip on to see about where does our NHS data go, so just keep those figures in mind. This article in the Financial Times. So let's have a look. Who is the NHS sharing data with? And if we go further into the article, which, by the way, was in 2021, we can see that 40 plus companies of the world's largest management consultancies are detailed, and that they're sending detailed medical records of patients from English hospitals. We've got 100 different NHS data sets. We've got McKinsey mentioned there, KPMG, Novavax, AZ, Experian, interestingly, as well. But it's not just that arterial route of data. It's also another, GP surgeries. So let's look at Centene. Centene are a United States health company. If we delve a bit deeper into Centene, we can see that they're into the NHS integrated health systems. It's all part of Matt Hancock's plan. So let's look at the equivalent of the Department of Health in the UK. Let's look at the Department of Health and Human Services in the United States. This is headed by Xavier Becerra. Xavier Becerra, as you can see, is the 25th Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, the first Latino. I have to say, he's also a lawyer. And as you probably recall, the Department of Health, our minister here, Steve Barclay, is also a solicitor. So let's have a quick look at the structure of the US Health Department. And you can see there that in red, I've highlighted ASPRA, which is the Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response, and also the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. So let's have a look at ASPRA in particular. Now, you can see right at the top banner, it's the US Department for Health and Human Services, who have ASPRA underneath that umbrella. And underneath that umbrella are BARDA. Now, we've mentioned BARDA before, the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. So who runs BARDA? Well, I'm going to put a screenshot up and you can freeze it. But all I really need to say is that Gary Disbrow has a pedigree in vaccines, including smallpox and Ebola. So let's see what he's got planned for BARDA in their strategic plan going forward. We've got a little bit of video to show you.
Hello, I am Gary Disbrow, Director of the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. BARDA was established in 2006 to support the development of vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics, and innovative technologies that could be used when a public health emergency occurs. The 2022 BARDA Strategic Plan builds on what we have learned and accomplished over the last 15 years. This 5-year plan sets forth how we will continue to work with our private sector and government partners to further secure the nation against a wide range of threats to our national health security. The BARDA model has proven successful in leveraging public-private partnerships to accelerate development of medical countermeasures that are vital to national security. BARDA helps its partners from advanced research and development through FDA licensure and clinical use. During the next 5 years, BARDA has 4 strategic goals. Rapidly develop safe, effective medical countermeasures accessible to all Americans. Maintain a sustainable, mission-ready response posture. Leverage mechanisms to foster flexible partnerships. Build and support a world-class workforce. Our mission-ready posture to deliver life-saving medical countermeasures quickly in an emergency requires enhancing our workforce of highly skilled professionals who can support our unique public health mission. Since its inception, BARDA has supported over 60 FDA approvals, licensures, or clearances of products that increase domestic and global preparedness. Among these are vaccines, diagnostic tests, and therapeutics used to protect individuals during public health emergencies such as Zika, the Ebola outbreaks in West Africa, and the COVID-19 pandemic. We are excited to release our 5-year strategic plan and look forward to working together with our interagency and private sector partners, our stakeholders, and our workforce, continuing to fortify the nation's health security over the next 5 years and beyond.
So let's look at this continued link between the US and the UK in particular. So I went to their website and you'll see medicalcountermeasures.gov. And you can see there the link with the FDA. So I'm just showing you that to draw you the link. If we move on to the BARDA'S strategic plan, and Cheryl's going to come and talk to us a little bit about that in a minute. I'm just highlighting there for you the link between BARDA, who are a public-private partnership, and have also got direct links straight into the FDA. So we need to remember that. Remember the link between the FDA. Now, BARDA, public-private partnership. Now, I went back. They do a conference every year, but I went to look at the 2021 in particular. And who were they doing business with? Well, there you can see Stefan Bansal from Moderna. And also you can see, and I've highlighted his biography, Trevor Mundell from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And I'm sure Hedley Reese's ears will be pricking up as I'm saying that. So let's just have another little bit of information as to what BARDA do. So BARDA gave Moderna up to $483 million for development of the COVID-19 vaccine. There's also a really good screenshot, actually, of what BARDA do with regards to COVID and how involved they are. So just freeze the screen on this, but you can see that they've had 140 COVID partnerships, 169 million has gone into diagnostic test kits, 65 billion has been awarded for vaccines. So there's some statistics for you. So how does BARDA link in with the UK? So I've done this screenshot just to give you a little idea of the triangle here. So we've got BARDA, who are linked in with the FDA. So how do the FDA link in with the MHRA? What agreement do they have? Well, it's an agreement that's called a mutual recognition agreement. And this is where the FDA has got this agreement with the EU. So this is also for people in Europe that are watching with the EMA and the United Kingdom, whereby the regulatory approval doesn't need to be done by that sovereign country. So it means the MHRA can basically approve something that the FDA has already. And there's another article here just to show you from JD Supra so that you can see the new routes. Because this agreement, as you can see, ends in 2023. So we have to form a new agreement, and we're forming new agreements with the FDA all the time. Another couple of just screenshots just to give you some information into how international the MHRA have become. They've also partnered with 7 international partners. You can see them listed up there in the top right. And another example also is Project Orbis. And Project Orbis is coordinated by the US Food and Drug Administration, along with all of those other countries. So you can see there are some very, very heavy connections. And this is where we've done a lot of work on this, and I've been I've been on the phone for many hours with Cheryl Grainger and on Zoom. And at this point, I'm going to bring in Cheryl, because Cheryl is going to explain what we found in a very simple and easy to understand way. Cheryl, thank you for agreeing to join us today, and tell us what you found out, and tell us in simple terms what you and I both have discovered.
Thanks, Debbie. I basically, we put together a cartoon to kind of simplify this, so that we can see the route through, because you've just thrown a lot of information at everybody. So I think if we keep it a bit more simple, it will become a little bit more clearly in everybody's mind. So starting off with the US government, they have a division which is the Health and Human Services Department. That's Becerra, who's a lawyer, in fact. He's not a medic or a scientist, he's a lawyer, good at writing contracts. And he actually has a branch under him, which is this ASPRA, which is to do with preparedness and response. And then under them is BARDA. So BARDA is the Biomedical Advanced Research Authority, and they've been going for the last 16 years. This is their 16th year. So they've been doing this for a long time. And their remit is to protect people during public health emergencies. So they're looking after chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and then pandemic influenza and COVID-19 and emerging infectious diseases. And when you look at the strategic plan, it tends to be more concentrated on the disease areas. So it basically wants to achieve strengthening of the national health security through medical countermeasures. And each of these measures have got to be quick, sustainable, they've got to be ready, mission ready. The whole thing is organised by a world-class workforce, and they've basically done this through a whole set of diverse public-private partnerships. So if we look at COVID-19, they basically developed vaccines and diagnostics and therapeutics, and they've said improve manufacturing and fill finish capacity. I think Hadley might have a word or two to say about that. But they had started way before we got to COVID-19 in preparing for it. So BARDA, as Debbie's told you, has now got about 78 FDA approvals and licensures and clearances for all these products. 4 of them are for Ebola, and 18 are for microbial resistance products as well. And they're expanding the production of sterile injectables all over the place. So the plan is, there's a statement, and it's talking about the procurement of these medical countermeasures, MCMs, that have saved countless lives during the pandemic. So that's what they believe, and that's what they're going to continue to do. And they basically have put together a portfolio of proven technologies, and these should be flexible to meet a multitude of threats. And they are things that will become readily adapted and licensed, and then approved, and then could be even cleared for another indication. So they're offering flexibility and scalability as they did with COVID-19. And at present, just to let you know what's kind of in development and there for approval, they've got 2 FDA-approved novel oral antivirals. They've also got FDA-approved 5 different vaccine platforms. So that's how the vaccine will get into the body. And then they've developed 1 prototype vaccine candidate for each of the virus families that exist. So what they're doing all the time is evaluating these, they're scaling up manufacturing, they're developing testing to match in with what they're testing for, and they're achieving regulatory clearance. So if we go back to the cartoon, we're basically saying that this is what BARDA's doing. We know that the FDA is approving these things that BARDA are wanting them to approve. They're actually making it happen by supporting the FDA. And then, as Debbie said, the MHRA are then coming in with other regulators and accepting what has been approved. And that is a drug then, a medication, a treatment, a therapy that will then be put into the NHS, into a patient. And what are they getting out of it? Well, the NHS is unique globally. We've got a lot of data that sits within the NHS, and data collection is being done by the MHRA. So we've got Safety Connect, where 16 million people are registered and are sharing that data. We've got the Clinical Practice Research Data Link, and that's got 3 billion health consultations listed. And then we've got Genomics England. So all of these databases are providing information which is being fed out of the country to lots of different companies, and this data is being used, and we have no idea where our data is going.
Cheryl.
Thank you.
Sorry. Go ahead, Debbie.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. As you can see, there's an arterial loop there, and it's something that we've discovered on UK Column. So thank you very much indeed for that.
Cheryl, Debbie, thank you very much for that section. What was in my mind, many people are thinking in 2023, our bodies are not our own. The UK government is taking control of our bodies, but now we see it's worse than that because we're now into international public-private partnerships to take control of our bodies. So this is emphasising, this is beyond national governments, this is into rules-based international order and the globalist agenda. But scary stuff if we're going to be injected with things which have been approved supposedly in America, not tested or confirmed at all via any UK regulator. Well, let's leave that little section there. We'll say if you like what the UK column does, please subscribe and join us and join our community where you can chat with other like-minded people. Of course, we'll hope you'll have a little look around the shop and make a purchase, which is always a big help to us. And of course, we're saying all the time, please share information. We're putting it out to get it out as far and wide as possible. So please do share from UK column. And Debbie, your blog is just out and about. Do you want to give us a quick statement on that?
Yeah, there's lots of, but also, excuse me, an exclusive MHRA report on the board meeting with an exclusive verbatim transcript of Dame June Rain's report.
Okay, thank you for that. And moving on, we've got the music festival, the Freedom Music Festival 2023. That's 21st to the 23rd of July, Battle Road, Netherfield. Now, the UK column was able to attend last year's. We can't for this one, but we encourage as many people as possible to go and enjoy the interaction, the bands, the music, and the general social atmosphere, because it was great fun. So there we are. Have a look at that. Freeze it on screen if you need it. Also, my interview with Leon Krier, the architect, is up on the UK column. There's a follow-up coming. This gentleman has got a lot of knowledge, and I know that there's many of our viewers who are curious about his work with the then Prince Charles, and we'll see if we can talk a little bit about that in the next interview that we're going to do. Tomorrow we've got the interview with Dr. David Cartland, so a lot of information coming out on the UK column website. Do get on to the site and have a look at that material. And if you like it, tell other people about it.